All right, today we're going to be covering one of the most age-old excuses for anybody who has tried to take their fitness journey seriously. This is one of the most common excuses that I've heard personally, working with people, talking to people on a regular basis, and also an excuse that I made myself, especially when life hit and things got even more difficult. What I didn't realize was the fact that life was never going to slow down for my goals. It was either I make time or I continue to think that I don't have the time. All right? Because in reality, a lot of people don't have the time, right? But things aren't going to be convenient for us for if we want to, you know, reach exceptional goals. That's why we need to put it into our own hands to do something about it. So I'm going to be able to show you right now why I don't have time is something that should never come out of your mouth, and I'll tell you how you can actually time block your day to make it better for you to stick to your fitness goals. All right, let's get into it. So, I don't have time is BS. Stop making the excuses and start taking control of your 168 hours. This is the weekly reality check, and this is going to put it into perspective how much time you actually have. Every week, you get 168 hours. 7 days a week, 24 hours, 168. Let's audit where they actually go. Understandably, we all have necessities like eating, sleeping, showering, shitting, but the thing is, there's a lot more time you still have regardless of all that other stuff. And we're gonna see where that goes into specifically. So, the reality is, your time on the screen is one of the biggest factors for why you quote unquote don't have time. Because when you do have free time, right, those periods where you are not working, you are not sleeping, and that's about it, you have all this time and you're spending it very carelessly. You don't practice any urgency and you waste it on distractions, right? For example, social media, one of the biggest distracting mechanisms that keep you a drifter and not somebody who is freely living, right? Social media, YouTube, Netflix, mindless scrolling. An average daily screen time for the average person is 4 to 6 hours a day, right? And adding that up for the week, that's 28 to 42 hours that you have in a week. That's more than your full-time job, bro. So, putting that into account, you don't not have the time. You just don't have the commitments. And I get it. I doom scroll all the time and I still feel guilty about it. I used to watch anime and waste my entire days and all that stuff. But I still put in the inputs that are required for me to still meet my standard, meaning I still do the important stuff. All right, that's just the difference. And if you think that I'm bullshitting just because I'm on the younger side and I don't really know what it's like, you know, maybe being a parent, maybe being a full-time worker. I do work though. I spend at least 8 to 10 hours working, and I used to work at a warehouse right after high school where I was working 12 to even 15-hour weeks with no days off. So I fully understand what it's like to not have the time, yet I was still able to show up with some smart planning. That's exactly how I did it. All right, I'm no different than you. I still doom scroll. I still like to watch shows here and there. The only thing is, once again, is that I put in the work where it's need to be put. So yeah, moving on. Here are the necessities, the non-negotiables. It's sleep, it's eating, and it's hygiene, right? That's showering and all that stuff that you gotta take care of. That's about 94 hours. So looking at the math, and honestly, this is still very generous. 56 hours of sleep. Let's put in the math for 7 hours every day. That's only 49 hours, but right here it's giving 56 hours. So I'm giving you even more time, yet there's still 56% of your week that is still unaccounted for. So yeah, you really need to ask yourself, where is all that time going? and how can you better put that into use, right? I found that the problem was not that I didn't have the time, it was that I wasn't moving with urgency and I didn't actually value my time in a sense. I would take longer to shower. I would take longer to cook my meals. I would take periods out of the day to scroll, to maybe take a nap because I lost some sleep last night. The fallacy in needing that 7 to 9 hours of sleep, especially when you're an adult, is just something that people always make an excuse. All right. I understand that it's the most optimal to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep, but I also understand that sometimes you need to put other things above that. All right. And being on a night where you only get 5 to 6 hours of sleep isn't going to truly kill you. Don't get me wrong though, if you consistently have been sleep deprived, then don't listen to what I'm about to say, but maybe lose out on some sleep so that you can get your protein target hit and your calories in for the day. Hit the gym when you need to go, right? That's another huge thing that you should be able to make time for. It's only when you let these distractions take you away from your goal where everything seems to crumble. And it's not even putting into account all the times you're going out, you're drinking, you're eating out. Maybe you even like to party, but the thing is, none of these things are actually helping you on your journey. If this is something that is taking from your time and not helping and elevating you, then cut it off completely. All right? I'm not saying you're never going to be able to do it, but take a phase to be able to do what you know is important before you're able to enjoy everything else. All right? You won't regret it. Now, optimized training schedule. Training doesn't need to consume your life. It doesn't have to take 2 to 3 hours because most of the time you would just be talking to somebody or doing too high volume where it's not beneficial, right? I'll tell you what I mean by this. Like sometimes you'd see a friend at the gym and you guys would be in a conversation for maybe 15 minutes even. And that would tax a lot of your time, even though you know you're on a tight schedule, right? You just don't value your time that much to be able to be like, all right, bro, I gotta get going. I'm gonna hit this workout and I'm gonna get out of here. Like you have to have at least the courage to do that. Otherwise, you're gonna be stuck in a place where you don't wanna be. And you'll also be wasting your valued time which we don't get that back. And then another thing is doing too high a volume, and this has to do with the type of training that you're doing. All right? People think that they have to do high rep ranges, like 12 to 15 repetitions, and do 4 sets, which is excessive. You only need 2 working sets, and you can stay in the 5 to 10 rep range and get adequate amounts of progress anyway, right? I've made another separate video on training specifically, but following this blueprint, like that's exactly how you should be attacking your workouts. And so here I've provided what you can actually be doing so that you can make the most of your workouts and you're still able to show up 5 to 7 days a week. All right, Monday, upper body, Tuesday, lower body, Thursday, push pull, Friday, full body, Saturday, conditioning. To be honest, all that only takes 3 to 5 hours. That's only 3% of your week. And guess what? I can minimize it even further. I would take out the push pull and I would take out conditioning. And all you would have to do is 1 upper body day, 1 lower body day, and then 1 full body day. You would still be able to meet the requirements of training your muscles 2 times a week and actually cut the time even further. So it's even less than 3% of your week. Think about that. So whenever people tell me, oh, they can't make it to the gym, it just takes too much time, I always look at them like, bro, do you even want to get in shape? Do you want to be able to look in the mirror and actually like what you see? Do you want to look down and be able to see your dick and also see some shredded abs on top of that? I know that that might sound crazy, but it's extremely true, and I don't mean to be like just putting it in your face like that. But bro, it's almost like you don't even want the goal when you say that you don't have time. All right, I understand that there's parents out there. I understand that there's people who work even more hours. They work night shift. It's very, very consuming, but I promise you that there's a version of you out there that does make that time. And I know deep down you know you can do it as well, especially when I'm breaking it down for you right here. Commuting, changing, eating a proper meal, yada, yada, yada. It's a lot that goes into it, but look, I just took 2 training days away and still made it so that you meet the requirements. You can take the 50 minutes from each of those and put that into account where you're able to get ready, go to the gym, and work out, right? It's as simple as that. You can choose any 3 days out of the week, that's the bare minimum, 3 days out of 7, and still be able to make incredible gains, all right? It may be slow, but slow motion is better than no motion. Here's the real truth. After necessities like sleep, eating, and hygiene, you got 94.5 hours. After training, which is a bigger estimate, right? 5 hours, you got 89.5 hours. Here's the real question once again. What are you doing with the other 89 hours, right? You have the time. You just let these life distractions steal you away from what your purpose is. At the end of the day, it's a commitment issue. You're not truly committed to what you set out to achieve. If you were the person that was committed, you would, 1, take notes on this video to be able to go back to this and configure a plan to attack. But 2, you would make it so that you put your purpose above your pleasures and don't fall into the temptations of, wasting all of your time, right? I promise you, I've been there, and I never liked that person that I was when I was just, going through it slowly, just going through the motions. I was wasting my time, doing things too long, going out when I know I should have been at home or in the gym, focusing on my purpose. And I'm telling you, it hurts your ego. It hurts your character. Like, bro, when you aren't aligned with what you know you need to be doing, you always feel like crap. But when you show up and make time and do the thing that you need to do, you always feel amazing. And maybe it's like uncomfortable. Maybe the work is hard and tedious, but afterwards, that proud feeling you get towards yourself makes everything worth it. I promise you, cut out what you need to cut out, make the time, because you literally have 89 hours, and just commit, bro. It's very simple. And once you start slowly getting into the rotation of things, you'll be able to see, like, okay, this is how I should have been doing it the whole time. And you'll realize my way of living before was actually garbage. I should be living like this now. You'll soon realize how much easier everything is once you adopt that mindset. Because think about it, all you have to do is show up for 3 workout sessions that only take 45 minutes to an hour. And that's it. You get to spend that time efficiently and effectively, and then the rest of your time, you can focus on tracking your macros, making sure you eat your meals, prepping your meals ahead of time. Just make it easier for you to follow this routine so that it can just be a lifestyle to you. And then maybe once you get to a position where your physique is the way you want to look, go back to how things were before. But you can only do that once you've been on both sides. You haven't been there yet. You're still distracted and still doing the things that bring you pleasure and the things that are stealing all your time away. All right? Make the commitment for a bit. See how it is. At the end of the day, you'll see that it's not that bad. And then go back to that lifestyle if you want to. But the difference is you'd have a 6-pack. You look extremely jacked. People are going to compliment you. You're going to feel this confidence you never felt before. These energy levels where you've never felt before. Waking up and truly liking and living how humans were supposed to live. All right, and that's all through you taking action and committing. So the ones of you who are very serious, you'd be the ones who are taking the notes, you're creating that plan, and you are ready to start tomorrow, not on Monday, not when it's convenient, because there's no such thing as convenience when you're trying to pursue your goals. You're gonna start as soon as you possibly physically can, because that's how winners are made. And with that being said, that's the end of the video. If you don't want to take this journey on by yourself, then there's a link in the description where you can book a call with me, and I'll talk to you about how we can actually work together to get you on the right path towards your fitness. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the things that you do on YouTube, and I'll see you guys in the next video.